Why I decided to make the move is because I felt my desire to give my clients unbiased and completely independent and open architecture advice was enabled by going independent versus, say, at the wirehouse, where I felt I was being constrained and led in one direction with packaged products and or proprietary products, none of which I have here at Western. The beauty of the whole thing with Western is the fact that even though we have grown exponentially recently, we've always been on a first-name basis with just about everybody, and everybody, including from compliance on down, is always open to suggestions, open to communicating openly with everything that we do. It's much nicer to know that you're a part of a team rather than just a cog in the wheel, if you will. Quite honestly, since 2008, I think a lot of clients have become to understand that just because you're big doesn't mean you're infallible or the best. And I think that they realize that the clearing arrangement is where the bulk of the trust needs to be. At the end of the day, as I tell all of my clients, we all look the same, we all talk the same, we all wear the same suits. The difference is, who do you trust? And so therefore the delivery at the end is going to be myself as the advisor, and I'm not going to pick something that's going to put my client in jeopardy, and that would include the clearing firm I choose to work with, as well as the broker-dealer that I execute and transact with. When you write your check to make a deposit in your account with us at Western, you're not making it to Western, you're not making it to Richard's Bank of Brea, it's to National Financial, it's to Pershing, which is Bank of New York. We're talking about very large, stable institutions that are actually much stronger than some of the ones I left and ones that many people still work at today. Because they've obviously, since 2008, had to merge and consolidate and so forth, only because they weren't too big to fail. The fact that we're not a household name, Western, hasn't been much of a difficulty for me. What I found is that the clients, once they understand the relationship of what the broker-dealer does and through whom, they understand. So, for example, when we first started, I always said, we're not making a deposit to Western International, you're making a deposit to National Financial or to Pershing, which is Bank of New York, not Richard's Bank of Brea or Western's Wild West Bank. It's basically going to be with a large financial institution that is a household name. Not only a household name, but very strong and independent. Stronger than the ones I left, who had to merge and consolidate with other firms because they weren't too big to fail. And I think people have come to understand that basically there is a too big to fail. There is definitely, you need to know who you're dealing with. And for the most part, clients trust the advisor. And when people, I tell everybody, we all look the same, we all talk the same, we have the same jargon, we have the same products, but at the end of the day, they're going to go with the person that they trust the most. And there's a reason for that. And for that reason, as a fiduciary, people don't go around and just throw their money with someone they don't trust or with someone they wouldn't entrust with all of their life savings. And I don't put my clients in that position either. And I've never found the non-household name of Western has actually been a benefit, because they say, oh, okay, well, oh, you clear through Pershing. Oh, great. Or you clear through National Financial. So it's been not a difficult task with that. I think many people put that roadblock in their mind as an advisor, that they have to have this big name behind them. Well, those big names got tarnished severely in 2008, and for obvious reasons. And independence is definitely a way to go.
So, potential fear for advisor coming out of wirehouse are resources available to me, research, technology. If you can touch on the breadth of tools, capability, to access your business, whether it's research or managed platforms or any product.
Sure. I think it's interesting that my tenure at Western started, like I said, in 1999, which at that time, everybody thought you were a complete idiot to leave the wirehouses because they had everything. Well, guess what? Everybody thought about the E-Trade commercial with Stuart, let's light this candle. Let's, the internet's going to wipe out all the brokers. Well, guess what it did? It enabled all the brokers to cut themselves from the big wirehouses and become independent, fully vested in completely everything that's out there. So we're able to, even here at Western, we have access to aggregation tools, we have financial planning tools, we have managed accounts, we have...
Sorry, I need to stop you. I need a battery. Sorry.
Advisors who are really good, really understand the business, really understand the technology, will go for the open architecture of something like a Western, where we have managed account platforms, we have unit investment trusts, we have ETFs, we have pretty much discretionary accounts, managed accounts, everything available to us that we had before. at the wirehouses. The only thing we don't have is the pressure to do proprietary product. Your book is your book. It's not Western's book. And coming from a large wirehouse where there were temporary restraining orders thrown all the time at people, and they would chase you literally out the door and say, those are our clients, not yours. Don't call them. Here's a restraining order. What I like the most is the fact that Western treats the rep, treats the broker, treats the client, as they call them, with the respect that this is your book of business. If you're not happy here, we'll be more than happy to help you to find a place that's better for you. Well, that speaks volumes for not only the integrity, but also the level of service they are prepared to deliver. And I think that's been a big, big benefit to the growth of the company and the growth of my business as well. And basically, we have a lot of contact and communication with compliance. If there is a need or desire to bring a particular product on, compliance does more than their fair share of doing their due diligence to research it and see if it's something available that we would like to participate in. I personally have had clients who said, I would like to deal with this particular 401k provider. Run up the flagpole. 4 days later, we're doing business. I think that speaks volume for Brad and the compliance department and Western as a whole. Wendy, as our Chief Operating Officer, is phenomenal in getting back to us and making sure information gets out to us. Not only that, but that receives information, takes calls, and makes sure that we all understand that their doors are open and ready to answer or address any questions we may have. The back office at Western International is phenomenal. I've had fellow representatives who came from the large wirehouses with me, and the one thing that we all agree with is our back office is phenomenal. If we get things done, the phone's picked up in a timely manner, people call us back, or more importantly, they execute things and get back to us immediately, and it's always an interaction on a first name basis. And it's a breath of fresh air to have that kind of conversation and that kind of rapport with the back office. It's not confrontational, it's not egregious, no, it's just fantastic. I mean, you can't ask for a better back office. Well, management as a whole at Western, it's like a family. It's a family and a team, and it's a winning team. I'm very proud to have been a part of this for quite some time, and I'm glad I made the switch over. And I talked to fellow reps who were also wirehouse people. They say, gosh, I wish I'd done this sooner.